100% of the time. And that is not an Atlas stat. It's 11 wins to 0 in game ones of best of 5. So they're just pretty good at the very beginning of these longer series. They didn't win all of those, though. If you're a Gen G fan, that's going to make you feel better, as that's an Ornn.
So that's going to be Jace going the mid lane into the Galio.
Or it's Ornn support.
Could be. It's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't necessarily suggest it in this case.
No, neither would I.
Into the Ezreal here, but
gives them a lot of engage.
It's a lot of late game power here, too. There's the Rel you were talking about. Which,
Rel mid. Ornn support. Jace top, yeah.
Let's see what the final pick is going to be here, because I don't think this is really an Elise situation. You could try to pull it off, but you're just outranged by the Varus. It's really difficult to hit cocoons. The Braum,
I'm kind of into the Braum. The Braum angle's pretty good.
It really allows you to control how the level 1 goes very well, too, and potentially stop some lane swaps. And because Wukong...
For Keen just to hold on to it. Canyon going to be canceling this one. You can see Peanut not really in the area. No knock-up going to come through, but Keen is keeping him interested for now. Canyon shows himself, and Zeus going to do his very best doing some alcove gaming here. Knock-up going to be available with that Searing Charge, but now Canyon with the Nimbus Strike and with the ability to close that gap is going to be looking all right. As does he have a Scrap Shield? No! First Blood goes over to the Blacksmith on the top side as Keen gets First Blood on Ornn.
All right, well, that Wukong getting barely worked out there in terms of just having enough damage, but the Gust Blow's not gonna quite connect. And Delayed over here, trying to make something happen again. This wave's not in a great spot to follow up, but they want to try.
Yeah, Battle Braum, he's going to dive on top of Ruler. The door is going to be given. That is decent peel from Duro, but now Ruler with no flash, trying to survive as, oh god, Zeus is possibly just dead. Scrap Shield at the right time, but Keen just flashes on in. And there's the Ornn solo kill onto the Rumble.
This is what can happen when Ornn gets that kill early, picks up some magic resistance, and he's able to buy a the cowl from, you know,
yeah, Spectre's cowl's also so good against Rumble.
Yeah, he just puts it together and he's like, why just keep pushing these advantages and I trade up against you repeatedly. He's got grasp and eventually just runs Zeus down in the lane. You hit some of those knockups, you end up winning out. They don't force the issue on the Ruler because he got level 6 there, so he's able to escape death, but we'll have to back away, and this means Plate Gold and the first Dragon do go over to Hondo Life Esports, so they do have some win on the bottom side despite Zeus' second death there up in the top lane. He's still farming pretty well.
Yeah, the problem is that if it was the other way around, right, if it was King getting put behind, you'd be able to make the excuse to bring Chovy towards this top lane. They're going to be fighting for these grubs. Winter's Bite doesn't connect onto Ruler, who does have his flash back up and available. Chains of Corruption going to be coming on through as Viper now getting lower and lower. Winter's Bite goes wide. Magnustorm picks up both of the tanks. Chains of Corruption there as well as Canyon's in with the Cyclone. They try and mitigate as best they can, but it is not enough. And there's a kill going over to Ruler. Zeus, not entirely sure about that one, buddy. And he is going to go down. Does, you know, put some hot stuff on the ground there. And Zeker has taken a plate.
I feel like winning a team fight is on the cards for a while. Zeus may get caught again.
Yeah, Canyon's moving on up. And yeah, I don't think Zeus is getting out of this one. Yeah, some hammer boops. I think Chovy was thinking about giving his jungler an assist and then said, nah, just can't be bothered waiting.
Keen is really putting in, you know, the fact that he was able to get those early advantages with Canyon is really putting a big hole in the top side of the map for Hanwha Life. I mean,
and this is going to be feats of strength as well if this turret goes down. There's the taunt, connects only onto Chovy, who flashes away. They don't manage to take down the turret on this push, but it is looking worse for wear. Canyon's moving on in, wanting to get these 5 minions towards that turret. Audacious charge from Peanut onto Duro. Magnustorm going to come through the point-blank heroic charge as Peanut's flashing away. The Cyclone doing a fair bit of work here. Zeka trying to be tanky, goes back in. I don't know about that one. As this, the snipe, just one after the other. And turrets now falling by the wayside. The outer on the bottom side of the map, not long for the world, as we're looking for
Chovy?
A Hextech Dragon. Yeah, Chovy could be in trouble. Zeus almost just dies as the heroic entrance comes on in. They do manage to get the Justice Punch, but Chovy's so tanky. Now Canyon looking to take down this Rumble. That is going to be successfully executed, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end. And now the Ornn horns coming through. The triple knock up everyone just in the blender as Viper and Ruler are fighting, and we know that that is not a fair one. Delight goes down. Peanut trying to do his very best as these health bars are so low. And and Peanut gonna get knocked up. Duro takes that as his opportunity to crash on through. They do manage to take down the Wukong, and Peanut does have a lot of sustain in these fights. Wind becomes lightning, and they do need to kill Keen. He's a lot of money to be taken down, but instead, Keen's looking to try and get it himself. The mini taunt, though, is going to be great, and now Duro has no damage.
Yeah.
And so they could just walk towards him, but with Ruler moving down, that means that HLE not going to be able to find any more fight.
That last Sundered Sky proc feels pretty good.
Oh, God. Oh, I saw it happening again.
Top of the morning to you, says little penguin emote. I see you, Ruler.
Yeah.
See you in game 3. Yasuo watching this game is like licking his lips with all the knockups we're about to see in this fight. Because Chovy, he's relatively tanky. He doesn't have a Fimbulvinter in this game, but buys a ton of time here. And then Canyon, Duro, and Keen are like, bouncy castle? Yes. All of these knockups coming through. Keen gets the double, knocks up with the Rel, then gets the secondary knockup with the secondary activation of the Ornhorn, and the Forge God is on his side.
Yeah.
And then Keen flashes in for the kill here, and we end up getting a few more knockups in this exchange, and Peanut gets his own, and there's an extended fight. If Ruler was here, this would have been a disaster. Peanut getting that last Sundered Sky proc, really helping him survive here.
Yeah, this is out really demonstrating the amount of sustain that you still have in this kit of his.
Like, watch this. He's like, oh,
God.
One more auto. Okay.
It's very unfortunate, as we're going to check this one out from Ruler's perspective, as he chases after Viper, flashes for the ultimate, and manages to just walk him down.
Yeah, with lethal tempo, you're not getting away, unfortunately. Nope. 2 daggers. Like, Kai'Sa would never do that. It doesn't make any sense. But
It's very funny.
Okay.
All right, Zeus is going to get spotted on vision, and Trophy does still have to flash. Crash down there from Duro gets him out of the way, but that is an equalizer on cooldown. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, and here in the mid lane, Zeka fighting against Canyon, does have the dash cannon, but my goodness, this is a Wukong that's doing a fair bit of work, finds another charge there as in goes Peanut and finds Ruler. There's the flash taunt, and Ruler once again. This mid lane has not been his best friend, and now Keen sets up the train. Will he be able to get the knockups? Of course he will, as Canyon takes down the enemy 80 carry, but now the Bash Bros are getting back to it. Zeus is looking real healthy, and Peanut and Delight just struggling to take damage here in this game. Zeka as well, going to be okay, and 3 are on the floor for Gen G. How did that work?
I get it.
HLE.
I get it. You know, you've got a cleaver, Canyon, and you want to use it, and he's cleaving. Well, there is no reason. Gaming, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like that too. But the problem is it's down to a 3,000 gold lead now. Remember, HLE, they had an extra dragon, and now they're all piling on top of Peanut. Genji back on the horse once again, getting rid of the jungler. Absolutely fantastic, especially only 25 seconds away from this Baron buff that's going to be spawning, and a second Hextech dragon. Hextech Soul could be a 4-stack here for Genji if they continue stacking them up.
And for a lethal tempo Varus, he's going to love it.
Which is a little bit unfortunate.
He has a arm guard, so he's got one big fight maybe.
All right, possible battle coming on through here, as we could have a Gargoyle joining at any time. Viper free hitting over the wall is fantastic positioning. Knock up onto Keen now as Peanut dives forward. They look for Canyon and they take him down. The train has left the station, but there's no follow-up. And there's the concussive blows we were looking for. Finally, Chovy shows up, but he is way too late for this party. And Ruler as well, he's even later. I think everyone's well and truly gone home, even the people that stayed the night.
I mean, starting this Baron, though, is super greedy for Hanwha Life. Zeka still has ult. I think they think they can do this. Duro looking for that angle, doesn't have flash. Tried to Hex Flash in, but is avoided.
Yeah, well, Peanut can kind of tank it forever as Chovy's over this wall. Zeka trying to keep him interested as the Baron going down lower and lower. Remember, there's only one smite, and it's going to be Peanut that locks this one down. And now Chovy, he is just dead. Peanut dives forward. He's got the support of the Galio there as well, as Duro going to get knocked up and taken down. This Sin's now an absolute monster, even from the grave. Speaking of monsters, Zeka needed to press that arm guard, otherwise he was dead. Ruler still does the DPS, but not now from the death chamber.
And Hanwha Life take a gold lead. Atlas, when you asked me how they get back in this game, I just couldn't think of that weird specific scenario where Genji would funnel in like lemmings into a choke point into a massive equalizer that was super well.
Why didn't you tell us? That's why we pay you the big bucks.
I just couldn't think of the scenario. But I mean, they used used the Wukong ult super early defensively here, but it's not going to stop Zeus from dropping an equalizer onto this team. Delight is so sticky as Braum here, so getting out is so challenging. Keen only gets one unstoppable, so eventually he's going to try to use his second to buy some time for his teammates, which he does. And this is super well played here from Life in the follow-up. Duro wants to Hex Flash and set up a big ultimate objective.
Yeah, they are terrified of this buff as Duro in a really awkward spot. Otacon down to about 8,000 health as now Peanuts just walking on up here. Teleport in from the Galio, but he's now surrounded. Viper really far away from this fight. Look at the equalizer. Ruler standing right on top of it. Canyon just spinning, having a great time though. Still, the train, it's not going to get past the door. It's so powerful. Duro going to get executed, and even though Viper's dead, it's still looking all right here for HLE. Zeka just as punching his way in. The winds of war coming down as Chovy going to get tagged. In goes Peanut now as they're trying to find the DPS. Down goes the monkey, and it's a bloodbath in here. Zeka is just untouched, though he cannot take damage on this Galio.
Zeka's Galio, man, is so impressive. He's got the Rift Maker in this fight.
He's 4-1-10 in this doomed game, Wolf. What
I know,
the hell?
it's actually so crazy. He comes in here and flashes, tries to set up the taunt on the Ruler. The equalizer's on top of Ruler as well. True Shot goes through almost everyone. Ruler is able to avoid it. Chovy spends his entire time in this fight chasing down Viper. Then Canyon has to flash from him, but that means there's no peel for Ruler whatsoever. Zeka takes him out, but he is far from done in this fight. Chases them down here. He's got Phase Rush. He's got his Rocket Belt. Sets up the taunt here. Zeus, last-minute Zonias that he put together here. And Zeka is just a raid boss in this fight. Cannot be killed. Zeus survives with that Zonias and then cooks them to death. Hanwha Life with some clean team fighting. This is a massive comeback we are witnessing here potentially. Now it was, okay, they caught up in gold. They have a tiny lead. Now it's the lead that Gen.G had. They now have. They're looking to get Soul Point here for this Hextech Soul. Otacon potentially in trade here for Gen.G.
Well, we'll see whether they can actually get up here in time as Gen.G moving over Vision as they make their way northward. So it is with full information that HLE are going to be able to now move up and try to contest. He's going down lower and lower. Peanut is going to have to face check. True Shot Barrage spots out the damage being done here. So Otacon will go over to Gen.G. They have that, but they lose Soul Point for it. And control of everywhere. You can see in this mid lane, Viper is able to just wander towards the inhibitor turret. That whole wave is going to go wanting. And Gen.G are now looking to try and push the only avenue that they have available to them, which is here in this top side.
Yeah, I mean, the Baron is gone, so...
I mean, I'd hold the wave if I was there.
I'd
get them out of here.
Yeah.
And he is going to do so. Lands on top of Ruler there as well, as he can now start trying to cook him.
Delight.
As Delight, the flanking Braum! And they get on top of Ruler. They're looking to send him home early. He's trying to get these autos down, and finally he will be taken out. But Gen.G, they're fighting back. The True Shot Barrage finally going to be sent over. And this was an absolute Hanwha Life esports disaster. Not really what you wanted to see from them. And Gen.G even still have a whole bunch of Otacon buffs as they're looking to break open the base.
Viper here, one man against the world, but I think these Gen.G health bars are just a little too high.
Is it just the end of the game?
I think so.
That's the big question.
I mean, Viper's all out of mana.
Well, we'll see whether he can actually at least send a few of them back. That is first Nexus turret to go down, but these health bars are getting lower and lower. Keen, he's trying to flash in as the Shock Blast goes wide. These health bars, they're barely hanging on. But the Nexus turret loses interest. Another minion wave is going to taxi its way in. And Gen.G, after trying their very best to throw it as far up the pitch as they could, they pull up their bootstraps and they walk up, they get that ball, and they take it back to their base.
Oh man, this is the kind of win where you feel good about your decisive call at the end. Go for Otacon. It's only Soul Point. That one dragon, away from Soul is really the extra buffer that allows Gen.G to make this type of trade. They go top side and just send it. And Hanwha Life Esports seemingly just couldn't help themselves but to try to force an awkward fight there where they didn't have advantages. I like the idea of a flanking Delight if you're way further ahead than you are. You're only 3,000 gold up at this point. The Varus is still incredibly fed. Just an ill-fated attempt there. And yes, the Galio ult would have been massive if it came like 3 seconds faster than it did, especially with the Rumble on top there. But everything came in kind of piecemeal, and Gen.G just win the fight and end the game. I think for Gen.G, though, it doesn't feel like a happy win. It feels like you almost threw this one away, and the coaching staff, I think, probably has a lot of words for them. Early to mid-game, fantastic. A few big, critical mistakes, though, gave